Thank you for joining a new podcast series from ILTA Radio entitled Work From Home. This series takes a look at many different facets of the organizational, technical, and human sides of the remote work experience. Join us as we find new, interesting, and innovative ways to keep productivity and morale up.
Welcome back to another episode of ILTA's Work From Home series. We're tackling the difficult topics that many ILTAns and partners are facing due to challenging and changing work situations because of the COVID-19 pandemic. ILTA is here to help make this transition as seamless as possible. And to that end, we are sitting down with member firms and partners to discuss how technology, legal, and good old-fashioned ingenuity are making a difference in our new normal. Today, I'm thrilled to sit down with Tommy Moreo of Cornerstone.IT. My name is Beth Stuebe, and I'm ILTA's Director of Publications and Press. I'm thrilled to welcome you back to our series, and I'm really excited to talk to you today, Tommy. So welcome.
Thank you, Beth. Glad to be here.
I'm really interested in our conversation today because I think it takes us in a different direction than we've covered before. So could you tell me a little bit about your role at Cornerstone.IT and about how HR, human resources, has affected the work from home experience for all of your fellow employees, including yourself?
So while I wear many hats at Cornerstone, I'll stay focused on the HR portion of it. And so when Jim and I started Cornerstone about 17 years ago, one of the questions was, why do we have to go into the city? Why do we have to go to the places that we go? And so we started the organization as a remote organization. And so we were able to work wherever we were. And this started 17 years ago. And so while we started to grow the business and we started interacting with our customers, we would go in, we would meet with our customers on premise or sometimes over the phone and in other avenues. And that started to kind of build where we are today, 17 years later. And if I can just touch on the COVID-19 just for a moment, there's a classic book called Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands. And so when we would go and greet our customers, each customer was very, very different on how you would say hello. And I think today we're all finding out that shaking hands may not be appropriate today in all the social distancing. So I just want to kind of throw that in there a little bit.
No, I think that's really interesting because there's been the whole idea of, for a while, you can do a fist bump, you can do an elbow pass. There's tons of different ways people say hello. And you're right. Now is not necessarily the point to give somebody a big hug.
Exactly. And that interaction between two people, there's a lot of communication that goes on between people. They say there's three main areas of communication. So let's say today everybody's working from home. There's three main areas of communication. There's the visual aspect of it where you see somebody and say hello. There's the auditory, which is the tonality of the voice when somebody's speaking. And there's the actual words. And really what is the dichotomy today with everybody working from home is nobody sees each other. So that I see as one of the areas that's going to cause a lot of challenges with people working from home because people are going to try and communicate with each other via email or text or even over the phone, but they're missing that human aspect of seeing the other person and really getting the full understanding of what the other person is saying, and miscommunication is going to start happening from that point.
How do you see HR needs really evolving because we can't keep that office water cooler talk up or keep office morale up the way that we've been accustomed to?
That's so over the last couple of years, emotional intelligence has been getting a lot of play on how you interact with other people, but there's also another intelligence that's been out there for the last 40, 50 years that hasn't been getting a lot of play that I perceive that it's going to be getting a lot. It's called cultural intelligence. And while I have mentioned that book, certain cultures bow, certain cultures hug or kiss. The culture not only is on a national level, but it goes down to the individual level. It goes down to the individual level on the way people communicate. There are some people that are very, very direct communicators, and we all probably have seen them in our lives. And there's people that are indirect communicators. And without that visual cue, it makes it a little bit more difficult to understand what that other person is trying to communicate to them. And so what we do in the HR aspect of it, we actually have a training program that we use that we train cultural intelligence through this model called the cultural orientations model. There's 17 unique aspects of culture that's been studied. IBM did some major studies, and there's studies across the board from some other researchers that can help people understand other people and how they communicate. And so we actually teach that at Cornerstone. And I think that or something similar, people need to really want to communicate with the other person. And then it's almost like meeting somebody on the corner that's from another country asking for directions, right? You have to hear them. They have to say, hey, do you know where so-and-so is? You have to give them that extra leeway to really try and understand what that person wants to understand and then communicate with them. So I would say those are like the two main points we try and teach is have some more compassion to understand what that person wants to and make that extra effort to communicate.
I think that's vital in any organization. Over the last decade or so, we've seen rigid hierarchical organizations become open, transparent network types of organizations. ILTA's staff works remotely most of the time, and a lot of our member firms and partners are moving to that model. How do you see work from home environments challenging HR in the future?
Yeah, that's a great point. So I think there's two aspects there. One I think that I've gotten a couple questions from is the OSHA aspect of it. You know, if somebody's working from home, is the business organization responsible for the home? And in the late 1999, there was a letter written that kind of implied that the businesses were responsible for the home. And then a few months later, OSHA put out a thing saying, hey, you have to take care of your own part of your home. So I'd say from the physical aspect of it, people need to have a little space in their home that they can be responsible for. We give our employees a little bit leeway, and we give them some stipends that kind of tune up their homes, so this way they're able to have a place to work from.
That's really awesome.
And then,
I love it. I'm standing at my standing desk, kind of bouncing back and forth, because I think that ability to change the way you work to go into your work culture is paramount to having an organization that can succeed in this market.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's like when Jim and I started the company, it's why do we need to go somewhere? So why would you need to go into the city, or why would you need to go into the office and spend that hour going on a bus, train, or car, getting to that office, when if it takes you an hour to get in, 8 hours to work, an hour to get home, people tend to, you know, if you're working from home, you're tending to put in a 9-hour day anyway, and you save yourself a day. So it's actually a good give, where the employees actually work more, work harder, work smarter, and the company wins. So it's the employee wins because they get more time back to their lives, and the company wins. So it's a win-win situation from working from home.
Definitely. If I don't have to sit on a train for an hour, I'd be happy to go anywhere. But what are you seeing from your clients in terms of their virtual needs? What are they most concerned about, and how are you helping them?
Yeah, from what we hear is most customers, they want to make sure that their networks are up, 99.9% of the time. And that requirement really is for us to care for their network, care for their security, make sure that the services are available to the partners, the associates, the colleagues, all the people that use that network. And that can be done from anywhere. That can be done from the employees' homes. That can be done from our office. That can be done from anywhere without the requirement of anybody to physically go there, unless, of course, it's a physical device like a wireless access point or something like that. But to answer your question, yeah, the work can be performed remotely from anywhere.
We're really lucky that we have a Cornerstone.IT employee with us today, Adriana Vitale. Would you like to take a second and talk us through kind of the changes you're seeing as a virtual employee, as a COVID kind of pandemic worker? How's this affecting you, especially from the HR perspective?
So I think that the younger workforce would have demanded the work from home model. It was something that was inevitable. It was bound to happen eventually. COVID-19 just pushed that to the forefront. I've been working remote with Cornerstone.IT for 7 years now. And I can honestly say, if I had to go back into the city and work, I wouldn't be a happy cat. And what Tommy put forth with the cultural intelligence and emotional intelligence, all the programs that he put together at Cornerstone really has made it a bearable experience. I truly feel that I have a better connection with colleagues than I would have if I actually saw them in person. Knowing how to establishing a relationship with guidelines is something that I think we could all benefit. If we had a handbook on how to form a relationship with any of our peers or partners or anyone in life, it would truly alleviate a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding, and we would be able to understand other individuals for their unique selves and what they're trying to bring forth. So in short, I think that working from home has a lot of benefits to it. Yes, there's always the physical contact that, maybe we'll be longing, but in a future date where people are able to gather together again, I think that could be addressed with the occasional work together or company party or whatnot, organized gatherings. So
I think you're right. I think, there is that human aspect that we're never going to want to get away from. And I think that that's, pertinent in everything we do. Cornerstone.IT handles a lot of different parts from, kind of the cybersecurity side through the mobility, cloud computing. Can you guys talk to me about your biggest challenge with people being remote at the moment?
That's, I wish we had a big challenge. Not that it isn't a big challenge. For us at Cornerstone, we've been doing it for 17 years. In the early days, when it wasn't necessarily acceptable, you might hear a dog barking in the background, or you might hear a child, and it was frowned upon 17 years ago when we started. People were like, "Oh, you're home? What are you doing home?" But having done it for so many years, the shift for at least myself, and I think the majority of the people at our organization, it's been pretty smooth. I think on the outside, everybody else, I think it's been people may not have had their offices set up. You have to come up with some method of people not walking into your office, right? So I, in the early days, would hang a tie or a hanger or something on my door to let people know that I was on a conference call, so this way nobody would walk in. But I think I would say, to answer your question, probably getting that comfortable office with your monitors and everything set up as if it was your office, getting that set up and having that running at home, I would say is probably one of the challenges.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for HR and the idea that they're helping us do our jobs better. As we close out today, can you give us any last words of encouragement for HR professionals in legal technology or everywhere else as we try to handle the work from home and COVID situations?
Yeah, I would say it's not insurmountable. It is absolutely something that's being done across the world. It's being done in many organizations, and everybody here that's listening and all the law firms can absolutely adapt and adjust. Just need to move that, make it a project and move that forward.
Tommy, Adriana, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm thrilled to have had you with us for another ILTA Work From Home podcast. We look forward to our next episode. And as always, stay tuned for more great ILTA content. Thank you both.
Thank you for having us, Beth.